Hi guys, so the first website that I wanted to show you is Kahoot. We use Kahoot in my classroom every time we review for a test, so the students get their study guides and they complete it on their own without teacher or peer assistance. And then we get together the day before the test and we play Kahoot, and it's kind of a check to make sure that their reviews are complete and also that they, are reviewing the answers and kind of have the correct answers. So, what we'll do is the day before the test, we get together and the students have their Chromebooks and they have their study guide with them, and we start the Kahoot. And I will kind of show you what it looks like on my end as a teacher. So, if I click on our Ancient China review, I can click to play, and this kind of opens it up for the students. But when I go down, it kind of shows me all of the questions that I have created. So honestly, I copy these from our study guide and I paste them in, and that makes it really easy. And I edit it as I go, so I can show the answers and kind of see, oh yeah, that's what I put down for the answers on this question. I can change the time, and I can change how many choices there are, so I can have 2, 3, or 4 choices. So if I go in to edit it, I'll just kind of show you what it looks like. The goal of Kahoot is to kind of have this fun review of their study guide right before we take their test. They are responsible for making their own corrections, so we go over each answer to make sure they have it correct, and then it's their responsibility to make sure that they have the correct answer. So if I wanted to edit this, China is located in which continent, I can change the time limit. So when I was doing younger grades, I usually chose 120 seconds just to give them more time. You can choose if this is going to give them points or not. So if this is a question that you're not expecting them to know the answer to, and you just want to talk about it, you can turn this off and it won't give students any points. You can add images and videos to assist with each question, and then you type in the answers and then you check which one is correct, and it also gives you an area to credit your resources if you used it from the internet. So, yeah, so when we go in and I save it and I'm done, I can play it for my students and it opens a new tab for me as the teacher. So the students will see a different screen than I do. So I can choose teams. When I have students that don't have their devices, I choose team mode. That way they can work together. And then, or you can do classic. I usually do classic when we're doing reviews since it is an individual activity. So we'll choose classic, and it asks, is everybody ready to join? It's kind of getting it loaded, and then it has this pin right here. So I don't have any students right now to be joining, and it plays fun music. So what they'll do is they go to kahoot.it and they enter the code, and then they put their first and last name. When we're doing a Kahoot related to school, I make sure that they have their first and last name, because at the end of the Kahoot you can pull data and it tells you which students missed which questions and how many questions they missed, and it shows you just the result from the whole game. So they enter the game pin and then their name will show up here. If somebody has picked a name that's kind of silly or it's not their first and last name, and that's an expectation in my room, then when their name shows up, you can kick them out of the game and make them try again. So once you have enough students in there, you click start, and as the teacher, you're just kind of facilitating, and you are clicking through and letting the students choose their answers, and then you as the teacher choose when you go on to the next question. So for me, that gives me enough time to stop and talk about it. So that kind of brings me to my first standard, which is the STT4C, and this one states that you promote and model digital etiquette and responsible social interactions related to the use of technology. And so at the end of each question, we talk about it. We talk about why that's the answer and why the other ones are not. The only time when we don't spend a ton of time discussing is when the students have all got it correctly. And we might touch on it a little bit, but we kind of just, spend more time when half of the class has missed the question. So this Kahoot is a great time for you to also teach positivity and communication in your classroom. So when somebody gets something wrong, if another student happens to see on their screen that they got it wrong, it doesn't share on the big screen that the students are watching who got it wrong. It just shows the amount of numbers. But you can kind of glance around as the teacher and see if someone has a red screen, it means they missed it. And that's a good opportunity for me to talk about how to positively build up our peers and, tell them that's okay and maybe kind of help them get to where the answer is. So yeah, that is kind of how you get it started and everything. The audience is obviously the teachers. Because it kind of gets it going, but it's equally a great audience for the students because they love playing and they love having that kind of competition time. This is totally customizable. So when I go back here, I can edit it to be what's best for my classroom. You can also use public Kahoots, so if you go and find one that is great for your classroom. But a second standard I chose was the ISTE T2C. This one states that you customize and personalize learning activities to address your students' diverse learning styles, working strategies, and ability to use digital tools and resources. So that goes back to the ability to change the time limit, to change the amount of questions, to choose your own answers. So Kahoot is a great tool for teachers to use. You can use it for any grade. I use it in 6th grade. When I was teaching 1st grade, I used it in 1st grade. If you really work at routine and how to teach your students how to act when you're doing Kahoot, it really works for review. So yeah, that's a little bit about Kahoot. I encourage you to kind of click around and play with it because Kahoot has a bunch of different options that you can do, and it's honestly really cool. You can do quizzes, you can do jumble, which is where students have to match answers. You can facilitate debates and discussions, and there's also surveys. So it is honestly a great tool to use for review and for fun. I use a lot of Kahoots during free time, during our seminar time when they don't really have any homework. So there are great options. I encourage you all to check it out.